The hum of fluorescent lights at St. Luke's Hospital in Jacksonville, Florida, did little to cut through the palpable tension on the evening of March 14, 2011. At 5:30 p.m., a grim tableau unfolded as 2-year-old David Galaraga arrived, limp and unresponsive. His tiny body, a whisper of life, demanded immediate, specialized care. But the explanation offered by his mother, Biannela Susanna, was a tangled web that left seasoned hospital staff with a chilling unease. Were his devastating injuries the tragic outcome of a childhood accident, or was a far more sinister narrative lurking beneath the surface? As a precaution, police were summoned. The family, primarily Biannela and David's 12-year-old brother, Christian Fernandez, were brought in for questioning. What began as a routine inquiry would soon spiral into a harrowing case of deceit and unfathomable cruelty. A case so disturbing it would etch itself into the annals of Florida's criminal justice system. The interrogation room felt cold, and Officer Detective Murphy began by addressing Christian, acutely aware of his youth. "Before I talk to you, I'm just going to go over a few things with you, okay?" she explained, holding up a form. "These are called your constitutional rights." She confirmed his age. "And I know you're 12 years old, right? When's your birthday?" Another officer chimed in. "Okay, so you turned 12.13? MHM, Christian affirmed, though a moment later, corrected, "I'm 12. "Yeah, that's why I'm saying you're 12, the detective clarified gently, proceeding to explain his rights. Florida law permitted the questioning of minors without parental consent, but the weight of ensuring Christian truly understood was paramount. If not, any admission could be rendered inadmissible. After carefully explaining each point, she asked him to sign, remarking, "You have nice cursive. My son's working on his," a subtle attempt to build rapport. While this delicate dance played out, troubling details from Biannela's initial hospital interview surfaced. Police reports noted her surprising lack of emotion. When doctors detailed the gravity of David's condition, she'd reportedly told officers she had been through worse. Yet, once formally questioned at the station, the reality seemed to weigh on her more heavily. She admitted, "He suffered." Detective Carlson began with Biannela. "So, tell me a little bit about tonight. Were you home when this incident happened? What time did all this occur?" Biannela stated it happened a little bit after 4, claiming everybody was home. She recounted Christian running into her room for help after David supposedly fell from his bunk bed. Rushing to his side, she found David unresponsive. "So when did you immediately run in there?" The detective pressed. Biannela confirmed she did, adding, "So I put like some ice." A search of the family's 2-bedroom apartment painted a starkly different, more violent picture. In the bedroom shared by the 3 eldest children, investigators found a bloodstain on the carpet near a school backpack. More blood and vomit were discovered throughout the room. Baby wipes and a diaper lay on the bottom bunk, surrounded by red stains on blankets, pillows, and the floor. The grim trail continued with additional stains on a cabinet and the shower curtain in the bathroom. David's injuries were severe, and the physical evidence screamed foul play. The police had to rely heavily on the only apparent witness, Christian. Back with Christian, Detective Murphy asked, "Tonight, you guys were in your room. Just you and David?" "MHM," Christian mumbled. "Was your other brother and sister in there?" "MHM. So all y'all?" "No, I think it was just y'all two," Christian corrected, meaning just him and David. "Okay. What was your mom doing when this happened?" I don't know." He hesitated. "Maybe I'm driving. I'm not sure where she was." This directly contradicted Biannela's assertion that she was home. Christian then explained that after David fell, he laid his brother on the bottom bunk and called my mom. He told her that he fell. This was another inconsistency. Biannela had initially told investigators at the hospital that Christian was flipping through TV channels with David when, in a moment of distraction, David climbed his 5-foot-to-bunk bed ladder, which then shifted, causing the fall. Christian described his mother's return. And then she went to the hospital. I cleaned him and changed his clothes. He added that she was crying. He estimated calling her almost like 8 minutes after the incident, and it took her a couple minutes to arrive. Armed with this, detectives confronted Biannela. "And you were home, okay?" You're definitely home. 'Cause I don't want to catch you in a lie, Detective Carlson stated firmly. I'm going to ask you again. Were you home when this occurred? The facade crumbled. Well, I had gone to the bank, Biannela admitted. Okay, so you weren't in the kitchen when this happened? No. Okay, so you screwed up when you said he called me. He called you on the phone. And you were at the bank. Who was with you? I was by myself. The truth began to emerge. Biannela, a single mother of 4, had left her 12-year-old son in charge of his 3 younger siblings. She claimed she went right away after his call. I went to the ATM, and then afterwards I went back home. Then, Christian dropped another bombshell. Detective Murphy inquired. Did she get on the computer before she went to the hospital? No, she was on the phone on the computer, Christian replied, unsure what she was looking at, suggesting maybe like a hospital to go. So how long were you guys at home before you left to go to the hospital? About 40 minutes, Christian stated. Police were stunned. Instead of calling 911 or rushing her unconscious child to medical care, Biannela had waited. By the time David reached the hospital, his condition was so dire he was airlifted to another facility. One look had told medical staff the bunk bed story didn't add up. Biannela tried to justify her actions, citing fear of Florida's Department of Children and Families DCF. After my husband passed away, they assigned me to a caseworker, she explained, and I'm like, okay, I already have a caseworker. If they think that I'm doing something bad to one, I have 3 other ones that depend on me, and I don't want them taken away from me. Her past was indeed troubled. Pregnant with Christian at 11, she and her son navigated a precarious existence, eventually entering foster care where Christian was allegedly assaulted. She later married Luis Galaraga Blanco, David's father, who had recently died under sinister circumstances the police were only beginning to uncover. Detectives pressed Biannela about her delay and the computer use. When you got home, you saw him knocked out on the bottom bunk. Did you see anything knocked over? Any blood? I saw a little bit of blood on the floor, like the stairs were here, and the blood was like kind of in front of the stairs. Did that worry you? Yes, it did worry me, but it worried me more the fact that, they're going to think that I did it. So you got on the computer. For what? To check what causes unconsciousness and how long is somebody supposed to stay unconscious? Detective Carlson interjected. I just don't understand why you didn't call 911. Safety's first. I know safety first, Biannela conceded. But like I read online, that unconsciousness happens when your brain shifts from position. From a head injury, she reasoned, okay, it's going to shift back to its right place. The detective was incredulous, but most people wouldn't even think about going online. They would think about, oh my God, I got to call 911. The conversation shifted to a previous injury, David's broken left leg from January, evidenced by the blue cast extending from his hip to his foot. According to a DCF report, Biannela claimed she was inside when Christian brought David in, saying he'd fallen from monkey bars at the apartment playground. Do they play unsupervised? An officer asked. I open the window and I look at them, she replied, but admitted, I'm not out there. I wasn't with my eyes on them the whole time. A glaring issue, the apartment playground had no monkey bars. Biannela's story to DCF had shifted first monkey bars, then a jungle gym. Her sister offered yet another version, David jumping between swings. Christian's account of the broken leg was entirely different. How did he break his leg in January? Detective Murphy asked. By yoga, Christian said. In what room were you guys in? In. Were you watching that on TV or something? No. Where'd you see that at? In a book. Who else was in the room when that happened? Me and him. Just y'all two. Where was your mom at? I think she was taking my brother to school. Once again, Biannela was absent. Christian confessed he'd lied to DCF for his mother, claiming David fell. The detectives confronted Biannela. That's not really what happened, is it? In a shocking turn, Biannela seemed to pivot. He was my son. And what did he do? He said he was wrestling. She now appeared to blame Christian for David's broken leg. She claimed she initially didn't think the injury was serious, nor did she believe a 12-year-old capable of breaking a bone. Her fear, she reiterated, Was DCF taking Christian away? I thought that by me talking to him, making him realize what he had done. I took him to the hospital with me. The detective pointed out the damning delay. You wait 2 days to take him to the hospital? I didn't think he was capable of breaking anything, Biannela insisted. I thought it was just swollen. Christian, when pressed for details about the leg injury, demonstrated a twisting motion. It was an accident, he mumbled. But I didn't know his bone was going to break. Did you hear a snap or something? All sort of, yeah. David started crying. His mother arrived a couple minutes later. Doctors had described it as the worst break they'd seen in a toddler. The web of lies was tightening. So you know your son did that in January. Detective Carlson stated to Biannela, "You lied. You told him to tell a lie to DCF, didn't you?" Yeah, Biannela admitted. Her rationale was simple. It wasn't easy for me to tell DCF. And look where I am now. Returning to the night of the head injury, Biannela's timeline for seeking help continued to shift. From 40 minutes, it expanded to about an hour, then closer to 2. It was also revealed she'd called a pediatrician once, but gave up when put on hold. It was now the early morning hours of March 15th. Christian was exhausted. Detective Murphy appealed to him. David is not feeling too good right now. He deserves for you to tell us the truth. She gently reminded him of his own past trauma, the alleged abuse by his late stepfather, Luis Galaraga Blanco, which led to Luz's suicide in front of the children after police were called. David himself had been found shaking and covered in blood during that incident. Tell me what really happened tonight, the detective urged. Christian's story changed again. I put him to carry books, he said, like a bunch of skinny books. He claimed David was carrying them. They fell on him, on his head. The detective pointed to David's severe injuries. This side of his head is really injured up with a lot of bruising and swelling. So, did something else happen tonight besides just books falling? Christian then admitted, so he never fell off the bunk bed. No, he confirmed. Did you push him tonight to the bed? No. Did you do anything for his head to hit anything tonight? Well, we were just carrying books, and then it fell on him. The detective persisted. He didn't get those head injuries just from books. That's not the truth. Christian, is it? Christian was visibly scared. The detective tried a different angle. Did your mom do something to David? Then, directly, did you push him down? What did you hit him with? The dam broke. I pushed them against a bookshelf, Christian confessed. Why'd you push them? Were you angry about something? Yes. What were you angry about? My stepdad did to me, he whispered, explaining he was thinking about it that night. How many times did you push him into the shelf? Twice, he demonstrated with a doll, showing how he pushed David with his hand. Investigators would later learn this horrific act occurred not in the evening, but hours earlier, in the morning. So how did all the blood get everywhere in the room? "'Cause I was dragging him to his bed," Christian said, then corrected himself, actually. He carried him to my brother's, the bottom bunk. David was bleeding from his nose and mouth. He claimed he called his mother as soon as it happened. When Biannela returned home that morning, she found David bleeding. She cleaned his face, then loaded her children into the car. David still unconscious. She dropped the others at school. Instead of rushing to a hospital, she returned to her apartment, where David lay unresponsive for the entire day. Her internet search history from that day was damning. 10:54 a.m., when someone gets knocked out, followed by how to wake someone from a concussion, to 15 p.m. when you're unconscious for hours. In between, she added money to her phone plan, searched for screensavers, logged onto YouTube, downloaded music, and allegedly even looked up celebrity gossip. Christian insisted nobody else touched him or hurt him. He didn't feel better telling the truth. When asked if he knew what he did was wrong, he mumbled, "MHM. I felt bad cause then I realized what I actually done. Cause I wasn't really thinking about what I was doing when I pushed him. I was just thinking about my stepdad." He claimed his mother didn't know it was me that did it, contradicting his earlier statement about calling her immediately. As for why he pushed David twice, he could only say, "I don't know. I don't even know why I pushed them from the start." Authorities confronted Biannela with Christian's full confession. This wasn't an accident. The detective stated flatly, Christian did it. Biannela asked, how? How did he do it? The detective recounted Christian's words. He got mad and he took him by the head and smashed him twice, into the bookshelf. David was crying after the first impact, unconscious after the second. The detective mentioned David's brain swelling, explaining it was getting bigger. Christian, hearing this, asked what swelling meant, a potential red flag about his cognitive understanding for a 12-year-old. Doctors were hoping David would wake up. If he doesn't wake up, that means he didn't make it, the detective confirmed. Left alone for a moment, a chilling whisper escaped Christian. David. He said he just got mad tonight, and he snapped. Then, almost inaudibly, but I didn't tell him what the doctors told you. David was on life support, his injuries extensive, a fractured skull, a broken and bloody nose, an injured forearm, swelling and redness in both eyes, a bruise under his left eye, a contusion on his right hip, a hematoma above his right ear, and a bruise on the right side of his forehead. His neck was in a protective brace. Detectives persuaded Biannela to speak with Christian. She approached him, speaking in Spanish. Christian, what did you do? Tell me what you did. Didn't you think that was going to hurt? Why would you do something like that? One final, damning piece of evidence emerged from Biannela's search records. At 3:07 p.m., hours after David's head injury that morning, she finally looked up the hospital where she would eventually take him. After picking up her other children from school, presumably with an unconscious David in tow, she returned to her apartment yet again. David didn't arrive at the hospital until 5:30 p.m., a full 8 hours after his devastating injury. Furthermore, police could find no record of any ATM activity at a Wachovia bank that morning, undermining her alibi for being out of the house. Overwhelmed by the night's events, his mother's reaction, and perhaps the dawning realization of his actions' consequences, Christian finally began to crack, tears streaming down his young face. On March 16, 2011, 2 days after he was injured, doctors made the agonizing decision to remove David Galaraga from life support. His injuries were too severe for recovery. An autopsy ruled his death a homicide caused by blunt force trauma to the head. Even more tragically, medical experts concluded that had Biannela sought immediate medical attention, David might still be alive. Christian Fernandez was arrested immediately after his questioning. It's time to go, buddy, an officer said gently as handcuffs clicked round his small wrists. Despite being only 12, he was charged as an adult, becoming the youngest person in Duval County, Florida, to be indicted for first-degree murder. Biannela Susanna's arrest followed 2 weeks later. She pleaded guilty to aggravated manslaughter and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The judge credited her with the 2 years and for months already served, suspending the rest of the sentence to probation, which included time in a domestic violence shelter and a halfway house. Christian's case garnered significant public attention, including letters of support to the judge. Eventually, he received a plea deal for the lesser charges of aggravated battery and manslaughter. He served 7 years in a juvenile detention facility and was released on his 19th birthday in 2018. His probation was officially terminated in May of 2023. According to his Instagram, Christian now works at a barbershop. Forever shadowed by a childhood lost and a life tragically cut short,